Hey everybody, this is Michael Bryson from This is Bodybuilding, and this video is the 2019 Arnold Classic Classic Physique Championship Recap. There were 17 guys in this contest. I have to say that even the two guys who were tied for 16th place looked very good. No one came into the show very often. That was a good thing to see. I'm not going to go over everyone's placings here. In the interest of time, here is the official scorecard with all the placings. I'm just going to go over the top 7 of this show. With one exception, I'm going to talk a little bit about the man who placed 10th in this contest, Wesley Vissers. Wesley is a very popular competitor from the Netherlands who took the IFBB Pro League Classic Physique division by storm with a somewhat controversial win over the highly conditioned Amit Roy at the 2018 Chicago Pro. At the Olympia, Wesley placed a disappointing tied for 16th or last place. In Columbus, however, Wesley showed up much improved. His conditioning was better and his posing and overall presentation had improved over 2018 as well. Here he placed 10th, and honestly, he could have placed a spot or two higher without me being very upset about it. He's a very young man, and I think he's moving in the right direction. If he keeps on improving, I think he could eventually be placing in the top 3 of the Arnold and top 5 of the Olympia before long. In 7th place was Jason Lowe, who I thought looked his best ever. To my eye, Jason is pretty complete. He's not really missing any body parts, and his conditioning was better than many of the people in this show. Now, for all the talk of one guy who I will be talking about shortly as belonging in the 212 or the men's open bodybuilding division, the guy in this lineup who I think would best be served by moving up in weight class is in fact Jason. Jason has such full muscle bellies and insertions that he just looks, to my eye anyway, like someone whose physique is just screaming to pack on some serious size. His arms and legs in particular have massive potential, literally. I'm not saying he should switch divisions because that's something that is a very personal choice for any competitor to make. And it's just flat out stupid to say someone is competing in the, quote, wrong division. That's the competitor's decision to make alone. All I'm saying is I could see Jason adding size rather easily and doing perhaps slightly better in placings in the 212 and eventually men's open, and earning better prize money for his efforts. Incidentally, I'll be talking about prize money in all the divisions and in the Arnold and the Olympia specifically in an upcoming video. As far as his placing here at the 2019 Arnold, I could have seen him in 6th place Ricky Moulton switching places and not have had a problem with it. And that brings me to Ricky Moulton in 6th place. I could have seen him and Jason switching places based on Jason's greater degree of separation and density and less gaps in his physique overall, but I don't really have a problem with this order. I can concede that Ricky has a more aesthetically pleasing genetic makeup. His physique does have a beautiful flow to it. He's a very young man who has only competed 3 or 4 times in his amateur and professional careers combined. He has tremendous potential. If he adds more size to his upper body to better balance with his massive thighs and just adds more hardness and separation overall, but especially in his quads, he's going to be winning big shows before long. He very well could be a future Arnold Classic champion. He has awesome genetics, a great attitude, and he has one hell of a coach and 4-time men's physique Olympia champion, Jeremy Buendia. There's an extremely bright future in classic physique ahead of Ricky Moulton. Now, in 5th place was Khalid Chicago. I might be the only guy who has said this in a wrap-up anywhere, but I would have had zero problem placing Khalid in 3rd place. Yes, Peterson and Courage Opara, who placed 4th and 3rd, or more aesthetically pleasing, perhaps, but Khalid is more complete from a body part perspective, and his conditioning was superior to both men. I'd go so far as to say that his posing was also the best in the show, and his conditioning was nearly as good as the champions. Call me crazy, but that's how I saw it.
You're crazy.
In 4th and 3rd, we had Keone and Courage. Both of these guys are great bodybuilders and were pretty much interchangeable to me in terms of placings. Both have the same strengths and weaknesses. They each have nice shapes with great vacuums and impressive thighs and arms. Both are a bit narrow and could use more density in their torsos. While each has a nice vacuum, neither have tremendous abdominal development. Both could have more back thickness and thicker pecs, especially Keone in that area. Those things will come to these young men in just a matter of time, no doubt. And they each have great symmetry and aesthetics overall. I might prefer Keone's shape a bit more and may have placed him ahead of Courage, but I would say it was very close. A very close contest between the guys placed 5th through 3rd. I really don't have too much of a problem with the order that the judges picked. Now we come to the top 2. This was a very close contest according to the scorecard, with just a 1-point difference separating the two. In second was the super aesthetic Steve Laureus, and in first was the densely muscled, highly conditioned George Peterson. Steve looked amazing. This was his best level of conditioning thus far in his career. This was his second show with the great coach Neil Hill, and the progress made since the Olympia was phenomenal. Steve's conditioning finally matched the quality of his muscle belly's symmetry and flow. The guy really is an aesthetic marvel. The thing about Steve is this: while a lot of the guys in classic physique struggle to make weight, Steve actually weighed in at 12 pounds under the weight cap for his height. He has a lot of room left to grow, and that's a very positive thing. If he's placing second at the Arnold at this size, imagine him with 6 to 10 pounds more muscle mass. He's a wisely conservative guy, and his coach is as good as they come. I'm sure that size will come on gradually without making that tiny waistline expand. I would not be surprised if Steve is a future multiple-time Arnold Classic and Olympia champion before it's all said and done. As far as George Peterson goes, I actually thought this was a rather clear victory for him. Seeing both men alone on stage, each one looked about as good as a bodybuilder can look, and I thought, this is going to be close. But once both were on the stage together and next to each other, George seemed to pull further and further ahead. George weighed in at 3 pounds under his weight limit on Thursday night, and he was up above his weight limit by 5 pounds on Friday. His density was jaw-dropping. His conditioning was also phenomenal. While front shots were close, George dominated the field in side shots and especially back shots. There's a lot of talk about George looking like a small bodybuilder and not a classic physique competitor. Well, guess what classic physique competitors are? They're smaller bodybuilders. Specifically, they are bodybuilders with weight limits to make. Classic is no one thing. If it refers to an older day gone by, well, there was never an era in bodybuilding when all the bodybuilders had one specific look. In fact, ironically, most old-timers say that of men's bodybuilders of this decade. In every era, there were guys whose strength was aesthetic beauty and other guys whose strength was Herculean mass and density. In modern era classic physique, the one and only prerequisite is that competitors, based on their height, do not exceed their weight cap. By doing this, it ensures that the guys won't develop blown-out waistlines and bellies. That and that alone is the sole reason for the weight caps, and it's the distinguishing factor in what makes one either a classic guy or an open bodybuilding guy. The sooner more people wrap their minds around that, the sooner they will understand what it is they are seeing in classic physique. Classic physique, like the 212 and open divisions, and men's physique for that matter, is judged based on a number of factors including size, density, conditioning, muscle separation, proportions, symmetry, balance, and flow. No two competitors will have the same ratio of one over the other. The one judged to have the best overall physique based on this criteria, as observed over a set number of mandatory poses and turns, is the one who is declared the winner. In this case, the judges deemed that person to be George Peterson. He and Coach Justin Miller have now achieved the bronze medal in 2 consecutive Olympias and the gold medal in the 2019 Arnold Classic. It doesn't get too much more classic than that. I hope you liked the video. If so, please like and comment below, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, this is Michael Bryson from This Is Bodybuilding saying, take care.